Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a Nikki Uncut. In this Uncut, I'm going to be teaching you a very basic, very classic way to do your eyeshadow. So we're going to go back to the basics. I'm going to teach you an eyeshadow look from the ground up. This is an uncut, unedited video, which means you're going to see the entire process with zero things cut out. So you will see all the blending and application techniques that it takes to achieve this kind of eyeshadow look. And the eyeshadow look that I'm going to be teaching you is a very classic, very simple, but again, very classic, timeless way to apply eyeshadow and to create an eyeshadow look. So grab your palette, grab your brushes, sit back, grab your mirror, grab whatever you need, grab a mascara, grab an eyeliner, and I'm going to teach you from the ground up how to create a classic eyeshadow look. Now for this eyeshadow look, I thought I would just use a palette that is very popular. It's new. I know a lot of you out there have this eyeshadow palette based on who I've talked to in the community. It's the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Nature palette. It's a really beautiful palette. It's neutral in tone. It's got shimmers. It's got mattes. It's got like a satiny color. It's got everything that you would need for the most part to create a pretty complete, beautiful, cohesive eyeshadow look. So if you have this palette, and if you don't, no worries. Grab whatever palette you have, but make sure you're grabbing one of your eyeshadow palettes that has a range of mattes, mid-tones, deeper shades, lighter shades, and shimmers, okay? Because that's exactly what I'm going to be teaching you how to use, is all those tones to create a classic, timeless eyeshadow look. So back to the basics, grab your brushes. Let's first start out by prepping and priming our eyes. For that, you could do two things, okay? I'm going to give you two options. One of the options, I'll have multiple options wrapped up in this option. So you can either prime your eyes with a concealer of choice. So if you have any of these concealers, great. If you have dry eyelids, you'll want to use something that's a little bit more on the moisturizing, hydrating side, like the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. This is phenomenal for any type of eyelid, but especially like maybe dry eyelids or dry mature eyelids. It's going to feel lightweight, thin, but it's going to give you great coverage. But if you apply something like this, you apply a thin amount. I've shown this many, many times, so I'm going to skip it in this video in particular. But if you want another video that's uncut, showing you all that as well, I can definitely do that. Just leave that in the comments below. But you would use this first, then you would lightly set it with any of your loose setting powders. So not your pressed powders, not your pressed compact powders that have a lot of pigment to them, an actual loose setting powder. And then if you have oily eyelids, I'm going to give you a drugstore option and a higher end option. The high-end option is one that is so phenomenal, and I highly recommend it because if you have oily skin or you want just the utmost longevity for either under your eyes or as an eyeshadow primer that also is going to give you coverage, the Estee Lauder Double Wear Concealer is just such a phenomenal formula that will not disappoint you, and it will keep your eyes primed all day long. But even so, you still want to lightly set this and lock it down with your loose setting powder. A drugstore option that is more affordable and gives you the same longevity, same kind of coverage is the L'Oreal Infallible up to 24-hour full wear concealer. This one right here at the drugstore. So high-end drugstore, dry skin, or any skin type. Those are some concealer options that are really great for prepping your eyes and priming your eyes. And then let me get into how I'm actually going to prime my eyes for this back to basics type makeup tutorial. I'm going to be using, probably no surprise here, the Makeup by Mario. These are the Master Mattes Longwear, excuse me, sorry for the camera not focusing. Longwear Cream Eyeshadow. The shade Bisque is going to closely resemble that of a concealer tone, which is why I'm going to use it. But again, use whatever you have. Both options, either concealer or an actual eyeshadow base primer, is going to be great. Now, if you are lucky enough to not have discoloration, visible veins, visible redness, or anything like that when it comes to your eyelids, you could opt for something that is more clear or like barely tinted. However, I'm not really the biggest fan of those kind of formulas, but it is an option in case you are lucky enough to not have discoloration on your eyelids. I am not lucky enough for that. I have a lot of visible veins that are all green on my eyelids, and for that reason, I like to use something that is going to cancel that out and really actually cover it prior to my eyeshadow application. So I'm using my N16 brush. We're going to just dive right into this look because we have a lot of explaining to do and it's uncut. So hopefully you have your brushes in hand by now. You have your eyeshadow primer, and hopefully you're following along and you're pushing this product into your eyelids, getting your eyelids nice and prepped and ready to go. So even though this product from Makeup by Mario is very mattifying, ultra long wearing, which is amazing. I am still going to dip into the tiniest touch of the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in Cupcake. I'm going to pick this up with my N14 brush. I'm going to drag this into the cap. This is going to cut off any excess product that I don't want. I don't want on my eyelids. You only need a thin amount of this product to really lock in, especially this Makeup by Mario product. So just a thin veil of powder is all you need to fully lock in your eye primer, whether it's concealer or this product in particular. You don't need a ton of powder to lock in any of those steps, just enough to dry it down. The reason for this is because you want to make sure you're avoiding any kind of skipping when you get to your actual pigmented eyeshadow. So grab your blending brush, either the N13 if you have it. This is from my original Volume 1 set with BK Beauty, or any brushes like this, similar size and shape. A domed blending brush like this is something that is like a non-negotiable that everyone needs in order to create any kind of eyeshadow look. Honestly, this is a brush that you really do. I hate to say you have to have a brush like this, but you do have to have a brush like this in order to achieve the type of eye makeup looks that you're probably seeing on Instagram, TikTok, wherever, probably Pinterest too, or any of those places, right? So now you're going to grab your eyeshadow palette and your blending brush, and I want you to focus on the mid-tone shades. So the mid-tones are going to be not your lightest ones that are up top. So these are your lightest ones, right? Visually, they're going to be the lightest ones in tone and depth. These are going to be your mid-tone. So this is a mid-tone, this is a mid-tone, and this is a mid-tone as well. So any of these three mid-tones, you're going to want to start with these. So the easiest way to build an eyeshadow look is starting with your crease color, also known as your transitional shade. So that transitional shade is what transitions literally your eyelid color to your brow bone to the rest of the colors you put on your eyes. It's going to be your base layer color. And from there, you build up. So you build up on top of that look, basically. But you want to get your crease color applied. That is your number one first step, of course, after priming your eyelids, right? So take your blending brush. For this look, I'm just going to dip into this mid-tone. I could have gone for any of these. It depends on, whatever tickles your fancy. It doesn't matter. So it's up to you at this point, right? But just focus on your mid-tone shades. I dipped in. I'm going to tap off gently. Now you want to focus and apply this first bit of color in the areas that you want to ultimately end up being the darkest. Now, when I'm creating a classic, timeless eyeshadow look, this is the order in which you'd want to apply your eyeshadow. So you'd want to start in the outer corner. Okay, so right where your top, bottom lash line meet, right where your eyelid, your crease and your actual brow bone, crease, eyelid. Let's get that straight. Sorry, getting a little twisted over here. Okay, so you want to start in between, right in this like nook, okay? So it's right in the middle of the base of your eye, essentially. You want to start in the crease, and then you're going to work this product using small circular motions. The idea is you want to deposit majority of that pigment and majority of that eyeshadow in this area, because this is the area that you want to be the darkest anyway. And then from here, once you've deposited most of that product and most of the pigment, just small circular motions, very delicate pressure. I'm not going in applying way too intensive pressure. One thing to call out, you never want to see your brush go like this. You always want it to be, you don't want it to be smashed, basically. So light pressure is all you need to create a perfect timeless eyeshadow look. From here, now that I've gotten most of that product in that outer corner, in the crease, then you're going to start to work in a small, short windshield wiper motion. So what I mean by short is I'm not going all the way across. This would be like a wide, broad windshield wiper motion. I'm doing a short windshield wiper motion to make sure that this is going to be super tapered and super soft, gradually going from darkest to lightest as we get into the inner corner towards the bridge of our nose. All right, now that we've gotten majority of it deposited all in the outer portion of the eyelid and then into the crease about halfway, now we can go all across and just do some very general windshield wiper motion blending. So soft blending all across. We're just basically spreading the rest of that pigment across the crease. Now, something you want to look for is you want to make sure that you don't see any patchiness in your application. So if you see an area where the eyeshadow is clung to, and it's not as like seamless, you're seeing like harsh edges of where it stops and where it stops and where it starts, basically, that's how you know you need more blending, right? That's how you know you need to go back in there and finesse it and do a little bit more blending so it's nice and it's a lot more seamless. Now, don't overblend it. It's a bit of a fine line, but get in there and make sure there's no harsh edges. Okay, now you've done your first round of application, your first wash of color, then you're going to go in, you're going to repeat it. So same step, dip into that mid-tone brown, tap off the excess. Start in the outer corner where you want to be the darkest, circular motions, and then you're going to go halfway across, windshield wiper motion, until you deposit all of it. Then you can go all the way across, doing a wide windshield wiper motion. How many times do you think I could say windshield wiper motion in one video? I'm sure I'm at like 18 already. Same thing, dipping back in, you're building up. The best eyeshadow looks require patience, blending, and building. Okay, so you have to have those three things in order to like get those kind of eye makeup looks that you see on the internet, that you see influencers doing, and you're probably really inspired, right? But just know that those looks take time. They take patience, time, and a lot of blending and a lot of like building. So you're not going to get, you don't want to ever go in there like dip a whole bunch of product on your brush all at once, get a full ton of saturation on your brush, and then apply all in one stripe. That's never going to look the way you want to look, and you're never going to be satisfied with that. So let's move on to this eye. Same thing, I dipped in, I applied in the outer corner in the crease. Let me move this a little bit like that. I'm doing small circular motions to deposit most of the color, most of the pigment. Now this is my hooded eye, so for this eye, I have to go a little bit further up than what feels natural to create the same shape as this eye. So soft circular motions. Now we're going to switch to a half windshield wiper. And again, going a little further up on this eye. The brow bone on this eye is protruding more than this side. So it feels different to apply eyeshadow on this eye versus on this eye. So back and forth. And now we can go all the way across doing that wide windshield wiper motion because we have little to basically no product left on our brush. So it's going to be super tapered, super soft, and gradually going from darkest to lightest as we get towards, again, that inner bridge of the nose. Dipping back in, same color, once again, this one right here, tap off the excess, and again, you're going to start it right here. You're going to do some soft, very tight, circular blending motions, depositing the main bulk of that color and that pigment. Then you're going to switch to a half windshield. Once you feel like you're in a good position here, after a couple strokes of half windshield, go back and forth, and then continue on to a full windshield wiper motion. These are just basic techniques, and if you already know these techniques, if you've done them a million times in your life, then, you know, consider this just a refresh on the simplest, most classic way to wear an eyeshadow look and to create an eyeshadow look with the palettes that you have or the palettes that you just picked up, or if you have this one. Try this technique if you're unsure how to pair these colors. And this is a really classic, foolproof way of creating an eyeshadow look with this palette. So again, now windshield wiper all across. I'm going to dip in one last time. This is going to be our final round of building up this same shadow. We went 3 times on this side, so we're going to do 3 times on this side. Make sure you're keeping count in your head just to make it easier to, you know, create an even eye makeup look where both eyes match. So this is my third go in that same color, same technique, small circular motions, halfway windshield, all across windshield, just like that. Now, if you, let's say you went a little too heavy in one area, let's say your blend is a little rough, let's say you just need to diffuse the makeup a little bit more and you are not sure if you should go in with a clean brush, a dirty brush. If you're not sure, go in with a clean brush. It's the N20S brush. I designed this brush to be a diffuser brush. So diffusing your under eyes, diffusing small areas of your face, including your eyes and your eyeshadow. So take the N20 if you have it, and you're going to take it clean. And this is going to lightly diffuse any of the rough edges. So if you're not the best at blending your eyeshadow, this brush is going to help you achieve a really well blended eye makeup look and a really diffused eye makeup look, giving you a pro look, even if you're not. Now, I'm noticing that I need a little bit more actually on this side, surprisingly. So going back into that same shade. And this is what I mean by like really good eyeshadow looks that you see, that you're inspired by. They take time, they take patience, and they take a lot of layering, building, and blending. So now at this point, when you take your mirror, I want you to pull it further away from you so you're not like this. Don't ever look at your eyeshadow like this because you'll have no perspective. Take your mirror, bring it further back, like back it up. This is what's going to give you perspective because you're going to be looking at it from not like this close range where you're kind of like, well, it kind of looks like it's even. I don't know. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Further back, you see the whole picture. So this is exactly why you need to pull your arms back. Stop being hard on yourself. Don't look at yourself this close and just get the whole picture, basically. That's going to give you the best perspective. Once you've established that you're even or even enough, again, your makeup doesn't have to be like absolutely identical on each eye. Like get as close as you possibly can and then move on about your day, right? This is close enough. This is as close as it's going to get. I have one hooded eye. I have two completely different shaped eyes. So this looks good to me. I'm going to move on to the next color. So the next color that we're going to use is going to be with the same brush, the same N13. And believe it or not, this color right here, I know I describe this as a mid-tone, but it is a little bit deeper than this first tone. So we're going to dip into this next color to build up a little bit more intensity. We're going to start it, no surprise here, in that same outer corner. But this time we're going to actually bring it a little bit onto the eyelid. Just a little bit onto the eyelid to start building more depth and more dimension. So notice I'm not going back and forth and I'm not going like this. I'm really just softly placing this and barely blending it in really soft circular motions, okay? Now once I've deposited that slightly deeper color, it's still a mid-tone but slightly deeper, start to work this into the rest of it, just ever so slightly. Now you'll notice I went onto the eyelid just in the outer corner, but I'm still leaving all this part of the eyelid completely bare. So same thing, just dip into that slightly deeper mid-tone, looking straight into my mirror, applying this on the outer corner of the crease and the eyelid, just ever so gently tapping this on, working the pigment into this one area, going a little bit further above because again, hooded eye, so the placement has to be a little bit different. You have to cheat it and you have to kind of fake it till you make it and bring it a little bit further up than probably what feels natural. All right, now from here, I'm going to go back to that N20 diffuser just to make sure these two worlds are really softly blended together. Okay, so your eyes should start looking like this. Now we have that soft crease color going all across, very, very soft, tapered. It's lightest going on the inside, it's mid-range on the middle, and it's deepest on the outer corner. And then we built up that additional shade just in the outer corner right here, which gives us that pretty depth and that, just that kind of like sultriness, right? From here, I want you to take a packer brush, okay? It could be the N24, it could be anything like this. It's a very classic shape eyeshadow brush, so a lot of people are going to have something like this on hand, which is the good thing. This is a classic shape that, to me, I can't do an eye makeup look either on myself or on my clients without this kind of shape brush. So a small, flat packer brush, because right now we're going to pack on one color on the base of our eyelid. So this is our mobile lid, right? This is what covers up our actual eyeball itself. So all this light color right here, we're going to pack a even lighter color on top, and it's going to really pop. So from here, you're going to take your N24 or something like it. And this is where you could choose either to keep this an all matte look, or you could choose to apply your shimmer. So the shimmers, I'm going to apply a shimmer because it's just a beautiful classic way to create an eyeshadow look. And most of the time, most palettes have your mattes, your midtones, your deeper shades, and of course your shimmers like I mentioned earlier. So choose the shimmer of your choice, but it should be lighter for this kind of classic eye makeup look. Stay with me. It should be lighter than the crease colors. So for that reason, we're going to choose not these because these are darker. We're going to choose any of these. Now I love this one. I think I'm just going to use this color because it's one of my favorites from the palette. You could use this color wet or dry. If you want it to be more metallic, you'd use it wet. If you don't mind it just the way it is, which is like a really pretty shimmer, then apply it dry. So you pack on that color. You're going to pack it onto one side of the brush. Now, when you're applying this and you're using your brush to pick up this color, you wouldn't want to go in like this, right? You wouldn't want to go in with the point of the brush. You'd want to lay it flat. And you're going to just softly just kind of scoop up. Don't dig in too much, but scoop up a decent amount of product. After that, this is the clean side. This is the side that has the eyeshadow. From here, you want to look straight into your mirror, kind of lightly closing your eyes, depending on like if you're really hooded. And you want to pack on, I used the wrong side, oops. It's like, where's the color? You want to pack on the eyeshadow. Now, what I mean by pack on is you're essentially packing it on. You're pressing it onto your eyelid. You're not blending it back and forth. You're just pushing this onto your eyelid, getting it to grip and adhere. It's soft. It's pretty. Again, if you want it more metallic, you can definitely wet it. We might as well wet it just because I kind of want to layer this a little bit more. So I'm going to dip more into my brush. Apply more to my brush, excuse me. Again, uncut video, so you see the whole process, including any mistakes. So I just wet my brush just very, very lightly with the Charlotte Tilbury, the original setting spray. This is my favorite setting spray for wetting a brush for this technique. So what this does is it just makes your shimmers more metallic. It makes them stick a little bit better too. And it's going to give it a little bit more grip, okay? So again, both ways are fine. It's up to you. If you want it to be a little more intense, a little bit more metallic, you would want to wet your brush. Okay, gonna swipe in one more time to that same shadow. I'm gonna press, press, press. This is gonna take a few rounds to build it up. So be patient. And again, remember, it's all about layering, building, and, you know, building up an eye makeup look and not trying to pack on too much all at once. So you'll notice I'm avoiding the crease and I'm avoiding this darker outer corner. You wouldn't want to lay this on top of that because it would waste and it would take away all that work that you just put into creating the soft depth and blending all those shadows into the crease. All right, so just to make this even, I'm going to pick up more of my brush, okay? Take the setting spray. I'm going to wet it. I'm going to wipe off that excess so it doesn't stain my brush. And we're going to press this on, giving it even more of a metallic finish, if that's what you want to do. All right, now that both eyes are even, we have shimmer on both our eyelids. And again, it's going to look like I went above into my crease on this eye, but that's because this eye is hooded. So I have to just act like this fold isn't there in order to give my eyes the look of them being the same shape, essentially. From here, you're going to switch your brush. You're going to grab something smaller, either the N12 brush, the N23 brush if you have it, even the N22 brush, excuse me. Any of these sizes for your next step are going to be ideal. So something small. But the N23 I did design to use in this next area, so that's what I'm going to use for this video. So the N23, it's a small, petite kind of packer brush. For this next step, you'd want to choose your lightest shades in your palette. So whatever palette you have, make sure you're going for the lightest shades that are available. In this case, it's these two right here, as well as this one. I'm going to go for this one because it's my favorite, and it's just such a beautiful, semi-satiny, sparkly finish. It's really a beautiful and unique shade. So you'll notice I'm not getting in there and going like this. I'm just using the flat part of the brush, and I'm just scooping up a pretty generous amount, okay? So your brush should look like this now, okay? So this is without eyeshadow. This is with. From here, what I'm going to do is highlight the tear duct. So the tear duct is right in this area. Now don't be shy, and don't, I did this again, oh my god, I used the wrong side. Don't be shy and just put this like right here. Don't cheat yourself. Put this all over, almost up to the side of the bridge of the nose. This is going to really create a really wide-eyed, open-eyed look. So a lot of people think that the tear duct is just this little itty bitty bitty little guy right here. It's not. It's this whole general area, so don't cheat it, and apply this pretty broadly in this area and not just right here. Because this is where it gets crusty, right? You don't want to like put this into your eye, like where your actual waterline is. You don't want to put this in the actual tear duct. We want to put it in all the surrounding areas all around here, okay? And then I like to bring it up just a bit to softly brighten this area. So you see how that's nicely blended all up into here. We still have like my bronzer from earlier before I started recording. And it's all working and flowing together. There's no hard stops. There's no really hard edges. And if there are, go back with the diffusing brush and make sure you kind of buff that out lightly. Okay, going back to that lighter color, picking up, again, a generous amount, same exact technique. Don't get this into your tear duct because that's what creates that crusty look. But get it all around this area to brighten, to open up, and to really get this deeper, kind of darker area of our eyes that gets kind of shadowy, a nice bright-eyed effect. All right, same brush. This is optional, however, I do think it's a really pretty step, and if you just use a little bit, it's not gonna look dated. Highlighting the brow bone used to be like the biggest thing since sliced bread, and it was like something that everyone did. Since then, it's really gone out of style, so to speak, or at least like super shimmery brow bone highlights are not really current, but I still think it's something that is a useful thing to do. It's still going to bring focus to your brows. It's still going to like bring some beautiful lights and like an openness to that area. So just use a small amount if you're, maybe on the fence, or if you're hesitant, just try a little bit. I urge you to. And make sure it's not like an ultra metallic one, because that could be a little too dramatic in this area. Same brush. I'm just going to pick up, again, a small amount of that same shadow. I'm going to tap off the excess this time because we're not packing this on. We're just going to do a very, very light, natural wash of this, okay? It should be nice and subtle. That way it doesn't look dated. It still looks current. It still looks, like it's 2025 or 2026, depending on like when you're watching this video and if it's in real time. To look nice and soft like that. Very subtle, but this brush is small enough that's going to let you get in there right underneath the brow without being too dramatic. At this point, I like to actually take whatever diffusing brush I was using. In this case, it's the N20S. I'm just going to dip into that first mid-tone shade. Tiny, tiny, tiny bit. And we're just going to do one little extra wash. Now that these colors are on, this is a nice safe bet to ensure that you have a really beautiful, well blended but not overly blended eyeshadow look. Soft amount, really soft pressure, and you're essentially just diffusing this crease and making sure everything looks nice and cohesive, just like that. So no harsh lines, no harsh edges. Everything is softly blended. The difference in tones are still there. You didn't overly blend them. You didn't blend them away, which is pointless, right? They're still there, but they're soft. So that's the whole point. From here, you want to grab either an eyeliner or you just want to grab an angle brush. It's up to you. In this case, I want to show you how to build up an eyeliner and set it into place with the deepest shadow in the palette. So I'm going to be using the Makeup by Mario Soft Brown, just a really easy pencil, really great color, and they're gel, they glide on easy, they blend out easy, and they're long wearing, super high performance, and they're a great gel pencil, basically. Take your pencil. Now from here, you want to focus this on the outer corner, and I like to start in the outer corner where my top and bottom lash line meet. We're not doing a wing, okay? So don't worry. In case you're not a wing fan, we're not doing a wing, but we are doing this was following the same ideas as earlier when we placed those transitional shades. So we're doing darkest in the outer corner, and as we get inward, it's going to be slightly tapered and look a little bit natural, a little bit more natural. So in my case, since I have one hooded eye and I do have smaller eyes and I don't like to go all the way across my eyelid with my eyeliner. So I'm gonna actually stop my eyeliner about halfway. Okay, so right to there. From here, I'm gonna close this up. I'm going to grab the N12 brush, my classic N12 brush. I cannot live without this brush. This is in volume 1. And we're going to take this and we're going to just do some soft blending. Soft blending to make sure this looks, again, just soft and not too chunky, not too thick. It's going to get a really, you know, pro-like look. And then from here, you're going to take the deepest shade in the palette, which is this one right here. Same N12. Just going to take it, pick up a decent amount, tap off the excess because this is very pigmented, and you're going to press this on top. By pressing this on top, it's going to lock in that pencil so it really doesn't move all day, so it doesn't smudge, it doesn't transfer. If you have oily eyelids or if your makeup just doesn't last, this is a step that I definitely think you should take. From here, just going to lightly blend about halfway. Now, again, this is a hooded eye, so I'm going to switch to my N21 brush. This is my small little petite blender brush. I'm going to dip into the same dark brown, tap off the excess, look straight into my mirror, and I'm just going to connect very thinly the dark shadow from the inner corner till it meets the pencil. So it should look something like this. It should be thinnest going to thickest, okay? So that's what a tapered eyeliner look is going to look like. So thickest to thinnest. That way it doesn't close up my eye shape. It doesn't make my eyes look smaller or beady. It's actually opening up my eyes, really elongating them, giving them like more of an almond shape, essentially. And it's just a really flattering way to wear your eyeliner, typically speaking. Of course, there's always going to be exceptions to these rules, but typically speaking, this is going to be a very universally flattering way to wear your eyeshadow and to create an eyeshadow look, including the eyeliner. So same thing, we're just going to do same steps on this side, starting where the top and bottom lash line meet. Okay, that's where you're going to start to place this pencil. I like to work my way out, but always going at an inward dragging motion. So instead of going like this, where you're going to create like tug marks, you're going to go in. For some reason, that just works better. So same thing. I'm gently closing my eyes because, well, I'm not doing a wing, I'm just applying the eyeliner, so it doesn't have to be, I don't have to have my eyes completely open to see the placement, essentially. All right, same thing, you're gonna go grab that N12 brush or anything that's similar in size and shape and or density too. We're gonna blend this out, softening the edge. We're gonna bring it about halfway across the eyelid. Gonna go dip back into the deepest shade. I'm gonna show you it one more time. Tap, 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 tap off the excess, press, and lock it in. Just press. I'm not going back and forth. You're just gonna press and press. After you deposit most of that color and most of that pigment, you're gonna bring it about halfway like that. For me, again, I'm gonna switch my brush to the N21 because it's small and it's really petite and it's going to get into this harder to reach area. Same brown eyeshadow. I'm not putting this in my eye. I'm just getting that very, very thin edge of my lash line. Now don't feel like you need to go all the way across. You can even do like just short little stamping motions until you gradually get to the rest of the eyeliner to connect it. All right, so eyeliner is done. Again, it's going thinnest to thickest, so nice and tapered, nice and soft. from here, my friends, it's optional, but I highly encourage you to play with your bottom lash line and don't leave it out. It's a really important step, and it's a really beautiful area to create some more depth, some more like sultriness, and just more of like an interesting eye makeup look. So you're gonna go back to your brushes. And in this case, I'm gonna grab the N22. And we're gonna go back to the original shades we used earlier in the crease. You always want to start with those colors because it's going to give you the most cohesive, like well thought out, well put together type eye makeup look. So that same mid-tone transitional shade, we're going to pick up, tap off. You're going to start on the outer corner, just like we did in the beginning. Because again, focusing where we want to be the darkest, that's going to be the outer corner, just like on the top. Same idea, same rules applied to the bottom lash line. You're going to deposit most of that color, most of that pigment. And then after you've done so, you can start to gently work it inward. So it's softest in the inner corner, deepest in the outer corner, and it's nice and tapered, and it's going to follow that same shape, that same idea as the crease. Same thing, I'm going to tap in, tap off, focus it in the outer corner where we want to be the darkest. I'm pushing this onto my bottom lash line, pushing it on, and then I'm going to go back and forth just a little bit. Short windshield wiper motion, and then I'm going to go all the way across, keeping it nice and tapered, depositing just the littlest leftover bit as we get on the inside, keeping the main focus and the main color payoff in the outer corner. So I just dipped into a little bit more, tap off the excess, and you're going to start to build and layer just like we did with the crease. So tapping it on, and then short windshield wiper motions, and then drag it all the way across. Just like that. Now it's up to you how deep and dark and how much drama you want on the bottom lash line. You could stop it here, you could build it up. It's up to you, but I'm just gonna teach you the basics. So I'm just gonna do one more round of that same shade. Okay, now same exact order. So we're gonna take the same brush, dip into that slightly deeper mid-tone transition shade, tap off the excess, start in the outer corner right here, and then work our way only halfway across this time, okay? Just halfway across. That way it doesn't end up being too dramatic. So outer corner, deposit most of the color, just go across halfway to keep it nice and soft. All right. Optional once again, but you can grab that same eyeliner that you used on your top lash line. You can use this to tightline. Let me actually sharpen this. Hold on. I wonder if you could tell that my top is not zipped up in the back because I couldn't get it zipped up. So, and Mitch is not with me. So, hopefully you didn't catch that. All right, same pencil, soft brown. I'm just gonna sharpen this really quick because it got a little dull after that. And I don't want to cut my eyes. So from here, take your pencil of choice. You're going to either, if you have to, gently hold your eye as you get in there and you coat the waterline. Okay? Or if you're like me and you're used to this technique, just start in the outer corner, look in the opposite direction of wherever your pencil is. So if your pencil is in the outer corner of your eye, look in the opposite direction. If it's in the inner corner, look in the opposite direction. You never want to look at your pencil as it's being applied. That's just gonna, it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe to blink, and it's a recipe for your eyes to water even more than they might already. Now the reason why you want a tight line is because it's going to add density and add like a deeper, it's going to give you the appearance of a darker, more fuller lash line even before you do mascara. So it's a great way to, you know, build up the intensity and define your lash line even prior to mascara. Okay, eyeliner is on. Now, my friends, you are going to grab your lash curler if it's close by. Mine is thankfully close by. BK Beauty lash curler. You're going to take your curler. This is optional, but if you have the time, definitely make it. So I like to do a couple squeezes. So 1, 2, 3, and then I hold it for about 10 seconds or as long as I can remember. You don't need to squeeze it the whole time. Just hold it for a good, 10 seconds if you can. All right, lashes are curled. Get them all in there. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Hold. Count to 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo. Immediately go in with your mascara. This is the L'Oreal Extensionist Telescopic Mascara. I am a big, big fan. So with this mascara, or with a lot of mascaras, helpful little tip, not really necessary. This is about the eyeshadow look, but just a little helpful tip. If it's a really thickening mascara, I like to get it to the root. I like to wiggle it back and forth, depositing most of that thickness at the root, building that density, and then pulling it up. Same thing. This one's sure too that you don't get the tips of your lashes and like the mid-length of your lashes too clumpy, or it's not flattering. So wiggle, 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 pull up. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Pull up. From here, without dipping into more product, I like to just take whatever's left over on the wand and blink onto the lid, or blink onto the wand, excuse me. So blink, 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 blink. Pull out, separate with the tip, like that. And then blink, 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 separate. And that is the look, my friends. I hope this was easy to follow along with. I hope you do follow along with this tutorial. And if you already know all these steps and these techniques, which I'm sure you do at this point, consider this a good refresh and a good reminder of like how to very simply and very easily build a classic eyeshadow look. So if you have any of these palettes, if you have tons of palettes lying around at home and you're just not sure how to build up your eyeshadow look, how to place what color where and why, consider this a good refresh and a good reminder, or a crash course on how to build an eyeshadow look with any of your palettes. So let me know in the comments below if you try this look out, if these tips and this back to basics video helped you out. If it did, let me know. If you want to see any more looks like this, also let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Everything I have on is going to be linked below, including my lip combo, which I think is really pretty. So I'll make sure I link this below in the description box. But this is the eye makeup look. One more time. So deeper in the outer corner, brighter on the eyelid, highlighted tear ducts, definition, definition, mascara, boom. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.